Hello, everyone. I'm going to go over the intro worksheet from the first day. I couldn't get the squares to show up. I put it in red. I put that it was a squared, x squared. So let's move on. I'm going to go fast. If you need to stop, obviously you can pause it and rewind. So I'm just going to go fast. F of a equals a squared plus 2. Find f of 2. Well, all we have to do is replace the a with the 2 because that's all that changed. So this becomes f of a equals f of 2. Sorry. F of 2 equals 2 squared plus 2. And 2 squared plus 2, of course, is 4 plus 2. And that equals 6. Number 2, k of x equals 3x squared plus 4x. Let's find k of negative 1. So all we got to do is replace the x with negative 1. So that becomes 3 times negative 1 squared plus 4 times negative 1. And I'm going to put that in brackets. Negative 1 squared, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1 because negative times a negative is positive. So I have 3 times 1, which is just 3. And 4 times negative 1 just makes the 4 negative, so we have negative 4, so that's minus 4. And 3 minus 4 equals negative 1. Number 3, f of a equals a minus 2. Let's find f of negative 2. So that just means we're plugging in negative 2 for a. So that means that f of negative 2 equals negative 2 minus 2. And if you think of the number line, you start at minus 2, then you go 2 to the left, you end up at negative 4. So minus 2 is negative 4. Number 4, x squared minus 5x plus 4. So you can do the diamond method. I don't have a lot of space. I'm not going to include the x's. So on top is the a times c. In this case, that's 1 times 4, so that's just 4. And on the bottom, we have negative 5. That's our b. And so the way I figure out what to do next is I do the factor cross of that top value, the AC, which in this case is 4. So I have 1 and 4. And at the bottom, so that gives me 1 and 4. And I count up on the left side. I do 2. That goes in twice. I already have another 2, so that's all I got to do. Which of these pairs gives me 5? Well, it's got to be 1 and 4. So, because there's no way you can have 2 and 2 equal 5. Not yet. That's an inside joke. 1 and 4. So, what about the signs? Well, the middle value is negative, and the C value is positive. So that means that they have to be the same sign, in which case they are both negative. That is actually minus 1 and minus 4, which I'm running out of space, but that gives me x minus 1 and x minus 4. If the pen will respond. X. That's a horrible x. Minus 4. All right. Sweet. Again, I don't have time to do the whole Xboxing, or I should say I have time, but not the space. Number 5, v squared minus 9v minus 10. So we just do the Xbox again. So AC is minus 10. That's having a real hard time. And the B is minus 9. And so we look at 10. What makes 10? Well, it's 1 and 10. And on the left side, I count up. So I get 2. That goes in 5 times. Then I do 3. 3 doesn't go. 4 doesn't go. 5 goes. So that's it. So I'm stuck with those pairs. Which one gives me 9? It has to be 1 and 10. So I'm going to write 1 and 10. And we know that 1 has to be positive and 1 negative because it's the difference of them that makes 9. Also because the C value is negative. And so which one is negative? That's the question. Well, since the b value, the -9, is negative, that means that the larger number had to be negative. And so that means that the 10 had to be negative. And so the other one is positive. So that gives me v plus 1 times v minus 10. Silly pen. Okay. Number 6, x squared plus 6x minus 16. So we have our handy dandy little diamond, minus 16. Ay, ay, ay. And then a 6 on the bottom. And so 16 is either 1 and 16 or 2 and 8. That's, man, my diamond, I tell you. Minus 16 and 6 on the bottom. What the heck am I doing? I just did that. Okay. I meant to do the factor cross. Wow. Okay. No retakes here. I don't have an editor. So it's just all in one take. You get all the outtakes as well. 1 and 16. 2 goes in 8 times. 3 doesn't go. 4 goes in 4 times. So 4 and 4. Then I'm done because I already have the 4. So it's got to be one of these pairs. Which of these pairs gives me 6? Well, it has to be 2 and 8. So I put in 2 and 8. Then I look at the signs. It ends in the C is a negative value. That tells me they are different signs. If they're different signs, and then I look at the middle and see, is it positive or negative? It's positive. If it's positive, the bigger value had to be positive. So that means the smaller one had to be negative. That gives me a minus 2. So that is x minus 2 and x plus 8. It's kind of an ugly 2, huh? We'll try to fix it. I'm bleeding into number 7 here. So number 7 says 6m squared plus 24m minus 126. I don't like a value on a other than 1. So maybe if I see that, I'm like, is there a way that maybe it can't be there? And sure enough, all of these terms are divisible by 6. How would I know that, though? Well, I can try them all out in my calculator, or I can know my divisibility rules for 6, which is the rule for 2 and 3. The rule for 2, how do I know if a number is divisible by 2? Is if they're all even, and they are. The rule for 3 is if I take the digits of an individual number and see if they add up to a number divisible by 3. And they do. 126 is 1 plus 2 plus 6, which is 9. 9 is divisible by 3. Therefore, 126 is divisible by 3. 24 is divisible by 3 because I know my multiplication table, but also because 2 plus 4 is 6, which is divisible by 3. So that's the rule for 3. I know the rule for 2. I know the rule for 3. Take that together. It's got to be divisible by 6. So all 3 of these are divisible by 6. So therefore, I divide everything by 6. I'm going to factor out the 6 and leave the 3 terms behind without the 6. So here we go. 6. All that fancy talk. That's ugly. I got to fix that. All that talk for something that I hope makes a lot of sense. So I'm factoring out the 6. That means I take each term and divide each term by 6. So that gives me 4m. And then 126 divided by 4 is 31. So that is minus 31. Gosh darn it. It's a long day. It's 21, of course. Duh. 21. All right. And so diamond, I'll do it up here because I'm running out of space. 21, and that's a negative, and 4. And I do 21. I have 1 and 21. That's 3 and 7. That's got to be 3 and 7 because that's the only thing that gives me 4. And so we know it's negative 126. The C value is negative. Therefore, I have to be different signs. So one of them is going to get a minus and one of them is going to get a positive. Well, which one? Well, the middle value is positive, therefore the 7 is positive, the larger number is positive, and that means that the smaller one has to be negative, so we get a minus 3. And so that's my answer, 6 times m minus 3 times, and there is a times there. I don't write the times, but between the brackets there's actually a multiplication sign, which we leave off, and then m plus 7. Number 8, 2v squared minus 12v. So there's no c value here, and so become suspicious. Well, one thing you know then is that you can take the variable out, but also look for common factors. They both are divisible by 2, so I can divide both by 2 and by v, and so I will do that. I'm going to divide each term by 2v, so I'm going to put that on the outside of the bracket. I'm factoring out 2v. Erase that. And then I factor out 2v. So then I divide each term by 2v. What's a term? They're separate. Terms are separated by pluses and minuses. So 2v squared is one term, and then minus 12v is another term. And so each term will get divided by 2v. If you divide 2v squared by 2v, 2v squared is really 2 times v times v. 2 times v times v divided by 2 times v is just v. And so I'm left with v. And then negative 12v divided by 2v is minus 6. Minus 6. I'm really hoping you use that pause and rewind button because I'm talking fast. But I got to get through this. 16n squared minus 1. This is known as the difference of squares. The difference of squares because two perfect squares are being subtracted. And so when you have that, it's the a squared minus b squared pattern. Let me put that over here in case you forgot. A squared minus b squared. Whenever you have that, that's a times b. A plus b times a minus b. Wow. And so by that pattern, which is for number 9 and 10, you have to take the square root of each term without the negative, obviously. And so I do that and I put them in that pattern. So the square root of 16n squared is 4n, because 4n times 4n is 16n squared. I immediately became suspicious. The way I knew this is because I know my multiplication table. I know that 16 is a perfect square. And I know that 1 is a perfect square. And when I see them both, I see they're both perfect squares. And there's a minus, so I'm thinking difference of squares. So bracket, bracket. I don't even have to do my diamond because it's a classic quadratic. Classic quadratics are ones that occur all the time, and difference of squares definitely comes up a lot. And so therefore, it's good for you to memorize this whole a plus b thing I put down there. Good for you to know. So that's it. That's the answer for 9. It's just 4n plus 1 times 4n minus 1. And so number 10 is very similar. You just take the square root of each. So you have 3n. Let me put the brackets. I'm going to not forget that. And the square root of 25, of course, is 5. Now let me put the 5 on both. And then we get a plus. That's supposed to be a plus. And that's a minus. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.